I heard the story of this guy who was traveling and he walked up to people who were laying bricks. Talks to the first guy, says, "What are you doing?" The guy said, "Obviously, I'm laying bricks." Kind of annoyed that he was even asked. As he continued to walk, he asked the next guy, "So what are you doing?" And the guy was a little more kind and he said, "Oh, I'm building a wall with these bricks." And as the traveler walked, the third guy he approached, he said, "What are you doing?" The guy stopped, introduced himself. They had a little moment and he put his arms up and he described it in the air as he was saying exactly what he's doing. He said, "I am building a cathedral," talking about how the whole community will get involved and be a part of this. That to me was really what team culture is all about. You have that why behind what you're doing. You're not just a bricklayer. Of course, you have to lay the bricks to build that big cathedral, but when you have purpose and why behind it, it makes everything different.
Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
My guest today, you know that I try to stalk people. And when I stalked them for this interview, I got to tell you that there wasn't much to find. And my listeners know that I am actually FBI level. I've been doing this for a long time before social media was even a thing. And I couldn't find much on these ladies, but thankfully I have worked with them as their mental performance coach for their cheerleading squad. So I know them fairly well related to what they do with cheer, but I think I'm going to learn a little bit more about them today. Anyway, when I've been working with them and when we were talking about their team, that story very much reminded me of Coach Elisa and Coach Brianna, who are here with me today. And we're going to jump and talk with them so you hear their voice and not mine constantly today. It reminded me of them because immediately when I met them and their team, the passion, the why, the purpose was there. And this is what it was like. Everyone who was a part of the team, they weren't so sure at first, like, who is this chick? I think like some of the girls I could tell because it was a virtual situation. I'm in Philly, they're in New York. And I could tell by body language, some of the girls were like, what have the coaches signed us up for? Immediately, they were all in. So the girls were all in. And that meant the language. That meant, you know, when we need rest at nationals, this is part of being respectful to my teammates and myself. When we're doing a workout, it's not just a workout. It's trust the process that we're doing something greater than this actual workout. It was really obvious that they were building a culture that was elite and that they truly love these girls, which really aligns with everything I do with habits, attitude, mental performance, purpose. So today we get to hang out with them. We're going to talk about our work together, and then we're going to talk about something really exciting that they're doing. So I can't wait for all of you to hear this. Ladies, how are you?
Doing well. So excited for this.
We're just really, excited to be on the podcast. We're really, really happy to be doing this.
Good. So Elisa, let's start with you. I believe that we spoke first, if I'm going to go back.
Yes.
I think it was a journey. We were like back and forth figuring out, okay, how can we make this work? We actually were on a family vacation to the Finger Lakes. I remember driving and I said to my kids and my husband, who think I'm nutty when I do this, but I said, oh yeah, like the different signs in New York. I said, I'm going to have a team in New York that I'm working with. And they're like, here we go. Like she's like manifesting these things. I'm like, no, it will happen. I just don't know when yet. Tell me, Elisa, I'm going to ask you, why did you and Coach Bree want to bring mindset, mental toughness to your girls?
I think the short answer is that we felt it was the missing piece. We felt it was, the puzzle piece that clicks in, that the annoying piece that seems to go missing all of the time. And sometimes you have it and you can have sight of it. And then it kind of gets lost in the shuffle again. Everything that comes with cheerleading. You have all the ducks in a row, all of your physical stuff. And then all of a sudden you're looking for that piece when other things are coming apart and you can't find it. And then you're trying to find it. We had to come to that realization that mental performance and the psychological piece of things could not be taken away from the physical of everything. And it was definitely one thing that we, Brianna and I think it's so incredibly important. It's the undertones of everything that we really do, but bringing it to the forefront was what we felt was the thing that we had to push ourselves to do.
It's almost like the puzzle pieces fit together there. And it should be stated for everyone who is listening. I just heard you say we're doing these things. And every time I work with a coach, or whether it's one coach, a whole squad of coaches, if they're contacting me, they value it, obviously. And they're trying to do these things and they're putting it in there. And sometimes from the athlete perspective, it's like, okay, because you're doing so many things physically. There's so many demands on a coach, no matter what the sport is, to try to put that other piece in there. And it's like when this different voice comes in, some of the coaches, and you may have even felt this way, that they'll be like, we've been saying these things, to the athletes. But then when you just get that different voice, maybe I can call it tough love or a different thing where it's like, you have to go do this in addition to all of the cheerleading things. It's just one less hat that you have to wear, but we also do it together. If that makes sense with my listeners, those who don't yet work with a mental performance coach. Brianna, when we first met, I think it was virtually in the classroom.
Yes.
So what did you think was the toughest part for your athletes when we were just getting started?
I think the initial meeting of you, I think you, like you said, they were like, who is this lady? Why are we doing this? But it's funny because I do feel like they trust Elisa and I so much that they were like, we're going to do this and we're going to do it 110% and we're locked in and we trust that Kate is going to take us in the right direction. I think also they felt a little, I don't want to say defeated because they weren't defeated. They were just like, we are missing something. Mm-hmm. Something is missing. And they're saying that we need to work on our mental toughness and on our mindset. And we trust that. We're going to give it our all because we want to excel. I don't want to take any credit for this because we just have this group of kids that we're like, oh my God, what did we, I hope we had a little part of that because they just love this so much and they just trust the process and they are so passionate. And I think that that's what sold it,
I got to stop you as the mental performance coach. You hope you had a little part of that? All right. Without saying anything specific, if a coach is not in with mental performance, it isn't going to work in a team setting. It just isn't. They will go through the motions. They will sit through the workshops. Some of them may even do the requested on your own stuff. But in the end, it is not going to work. And here's why. I'm glad you said that because it's honest. You're honest, and I appreciate you saying, I hope we had a little part. What an amazing coach you are. With the first competition, I don't know if it was Florida, but one of you texted me and said, I hope you're ready for this because part of working with me is that you can text back and forth with me if something's going on with one of your athletes or yourself as a coach. Because we have a lot of mental things to carry when we are a coach.
You coached us through nationals the entire time, Kate. Right. It was like, I don't know how we ever did nationals without you because I think we texted you because someone was sick and we were like, they need to practice. And I was like, what would we have done? We knew the right answer, but you were just like.
We would go in the corner and we'd be like, should we text Kate about this? Do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But that's what I wanted to bring that up because that's where you did have a piece in it, whether you didn't realize you're so busy as a coach. And this is for every sport, whether you're a cheerleading coach or whoever's listening right now. If you're a youth coach or, high school, college, professional, you're doing so many things. You don't even realize that all these little things that you have an impact on. you just taking the time to be like, should we text Kate, and sending that text message? Yes, that has an impact, because then when you go back and say something, they could hear that's from Kate, or like, and then like
Right.
you even said like, okay, we talk, like, I think we were doing some breath work and you were kind of talking with them before they stepped onto the mat. So I want you to own it. Yes, the girls put in the work. We're not going to take away from any of their hard work, but you both, I had to jump in and say, you both have to take credit for that, because not every coach that I've worked with, or every coach in general, some are forced, I guess we'll call it, because someone said, well, we think this is a good idea. We grow to love each other. I will say that if someone's listening right now, like, oh, my athletic director's kind of forcing me into this. But in the beginning, not every coach, because it is hard to see inside the brain. And it sounds a little like woo-woo, like, what's this lady going to do? Right?
You have to be fully bought in. And like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like when you're speaking to us, I just get chills throughout my whole body, because oh my God, it's so true. Everything that you say is true. And I used to say this about my old cheerleading coach, Miss W, and everything that she would tell me to do just resonated with me. And it was
tell me something Miss W would say. Give me an example.
Oh my God. She did everything. Everything that you do, she did. I was actually talking to her the other day. Little things that we do before we take the mat now that you've helped us with. I am ready. I am prepared. I trust my training. Things like that. And I was telling her that, and she's like, yeah, I do all that. I'm like, yeah, I know you did, but I love having you to remind me to do those things. I need a session with you, because it brings me back to, okay, these girls, they need this, right? We need to like zen out. We need to be calm, you know? So Miss W, yeah, she would read us letters, which I also do. We would cry. We would feel all the feels. She would do a song with us before every competition. One thing I do remember about her is that like every time we would walk off the bus, she would embrace each and every one of us, and like she would not let go of us until we let go.
Oh, I love that. That's actually not just for athletes, but in general, that's how you should always hug a person.
Yeah. And like
you're giving the hug,
like,
because
I was like, wow, she loves me. You know?
Right. Yeah. Like they'll hug you as long as they like, that's like, is she a teacher?
She's a teacher. She's a chemistry teacher. Yeah.
She's giving teacher vibes. I thought that.
She's awesome.
And I love that.
Yeah.
You're really lucky.
She's got me saying, what would Miss W do?
Yes.
Miss W, can you ask her opinion?
I love it. That's amazing. You're really lucky. I was going to ask both of you, when you were athletes, if you experienced any type of mindset or mental performance. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm older than both of you and I did not get that type of thing. And selfishly, I wish I had, because I think my athletic journey would have been different. I love my coaches, but it is different when somebody can understand the pressures that an athlete is dealing with at all the different levels. I love that you had Miss W.
I did.
Yeah, shout out to Miss W. Is she still teaching, or is she living her best retired life?
She's still teaching, and she coaches rec team right now, and they won nationals last year. They were phenomenal.
Congratulations. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Big shout out to her. Hopefully she catches this podcast. So Elisa, tell me, did you have a similar experience as an athlete?
Well, actually, my coach in high school actually coaches in our program with us now.
Okay.
Her name is Joanne. Honestly, she is one of the most special people to me. She was on the tough love side. You know, you got to get it done. It's almost like, we call it the millennial mentality, right? Where we were coached a certain way in certain contexts where you just got it done, and you're getting it done. And mindset is not always within the forefront, but it was almost the collective acceptance at that time.
Gotcha.
But Joanne was so invested in her athletes as people as well. So he would be constantly checking in, like, how was your test today? How's your family? There were so many families that were involved in our program because of her warmth and her love.
Sure.
And I think that having that as an umbrella to her coaching, even though the coaching style was more that tough love mentality, I think it brought everything to such a well-rounded place. So much so that, I mean, she's like a second mother to me.
Oh, amazing.
At this point, she's a second mother to all of us. All of us have this special relationship with her. Brianna does. You know, anybody that she touches, she just kind of brings that warmth, that love and attention to. And that's kind of where I come from high school, where I loved my high school cheerleading experience so much that there was no doubt I was going to cheer in college. And there was no doubt I was going back to become a coach because I had that experience.
Right. I think it is important as you're talking about this, and I laugh sometimes when you two talk about millennials. In one of the hotel rooms, the girls were talking about the millennial pause or something.
Oh my God, Kate, they destroy me. When I tell you they destroy me, it's actually so embarrassing.
I crack up and I'm like, yeah, I'm Gen X. Like, I'm even older. So I'm laughing all the time when people say stuff. I'm like, my roots must look really good today. I think it's important to say that the tough love coaches, if the millennial age group, the Gen X's, all of my people that listen, the parents and different older people who are still coaching, they're not bad coaches. My coaches were fucking awesome. Yeah. I was at his wedding, So what I think happened, what I know happened, because I was a coach too. And even when I was coaching, I didn't even have these tools to give to my athletes, the whole team. I really think that we're learning more about how we can use this for our brain, and the Miss W's of the world. And even myself, my mom is a retired biology teacher. We used a lot of these things in the classroom with our students. And now as I started to do this, I'm like, why wasn't I doing this with my athletes? It was almost like, oh, we do that over in the classroom, but we're not going to do that over here because this is like, where we're playing basketball or cheerleading, which is silly when you think about it, because I know some of your athletes and a lot of athletes have messaged me saying, oh, well, I use that for this test, or I had a tough conversation with this person.
I use it every day. I used it before this. I'm not kidding.
I love it.
Like, I did.
What did you do? I'm curious. What did you use?
3 things you see, 2 things you feel, 1 thing you hear. And then I'm like,
I love it.
Send it.
Just so you can feel grounded in.
Yeah. And then I'm breathing and I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm prepared. I'm ready.
That's the favorite thing for so many people I work with, whether they're athletes, corporate space, they love that. Things you can see, hear, feel. It's so
girls use it too. Even like the quiet ones. Sometimes you like look past them. You're like, oh, they're good. But obviously, they're feeling those nerves. And then she'll like say it out loud. And I think that actually helps all of them.
I'm like obsessed with this one guy's podcast, and I should probably link it in the show notes. I forget his name. I don't want to say it.
Yeah. We're all about.
He told a story, and people have probably heard this one before because I heard it before. But when he said it on his podcast, I thought it was cool. So there's the story of it can be either a guy or a woman, whatever. We'll say it's a woman walking down the street, stick on her shoulder. He's got 2 buckets full of water. The one bucket, perfect bucket. The other bucket has some cracks in it, so some of the water's leaking out. And the little story is, and it's to teach kids about leadership. The bucket, can talk, and it's this little fable situation where the one bucket with the crack says, I'm so sorry, you're not getting as much water from me that you are from this perfect bucket over there that's like doing everything exactly the way you want it to. And the person says back, yeah, but have you been paying attention? Every single time I walk back and forth from this stream with the buckets of water, you're watering everything along the way. And look at all of these flowers. Every little thing that you're dropping is like making things beautiful. So those quiet leaders, and that happens on almost every team I've worked with. That's why I love the team connection and building that culture, because somebody says something. Sometimes it's a coach and everyone's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. Like I am feeling that too. Or that is so amazing. We all need to do that. I need to jump in here. Coach, quick question. Do your athletes look amazing at practice, but when the game gets tight or you have a big competition, they panic, lose focus, fall apart, start talking negatively before they even compete, missed plays, bad body language, heads down? You know they have the talent, but pressure is winning. That's not a talent problem. That's a mental side of the sport problem. I run a team program called The Champion Within, where I train athletes using my CHAMP framework: confidence, habits, attitude, mental imagery, and purpose. I literally retrain their brains so they know how to stay calm, get focused, and compete like the champions they are. When the moments get big, they need to know how to regulate their nervous system. It needs to be automatic. The teams that win consistently, they train their minds
not just their bodies. Just go down to the show notes, click on the link, or send me a DM on Instagram with the word team, and I'll get you everything you need. Okay, let's get back to the podcast.
I loved seeing the celebration with the rings and, golden in the background. It was so amazing. I think I actually missed a FaceTime call like the next morning. I was like, wait, did I bump FaceTime call? I was at a graduation party. My senior daughter, I'm always at a graduation party. I feel like if I'm not here, I'm at a graduation party. But anyway, the next morning I realized, they got the rings. Yes. I loved the hashtags of trust the process, the common language that was woven throughout every time we worked together. It was clear that, of course, you two were a part of that and that it was built within the team culture. I'm going to take it to a totally different part before we jump to your adventure. Sure. What is the toughest part of being a cheerleader? Things that they have to deal with?
I think they have to show up for every sport. In a lot of schools, every sport. We show up for football, of course, and we show up for ourselves. But I think it's being under a microscope in every sense of the word, where every sport you have to represent yourself very well. But as a cheerleader, you have this image of, okay, well, you're supporting the football team and you're, showing up to school events. And then you have this other side where you have your own competition and your own goals. It's having the pressure of being under that microscope. Obviously, on top of all of the physicality of it in general. But I really do think it's the pressure of being in so many environments throughout the season.
Do you feel like that they have to show up differently? Obviously, for competition, it's different when you're showing up. But for the different sports, I was never a cheerleader, so I'm really not sure about this. For the different sports and they're being under that microscope, from the athletes, from the parents, to the school in general, is there a different vibe that you need to show up for each different sport?
I think and correct me if I'm wrong, Bri, if you have a different interpretation, but I think like when you're, let's say, in front of a football crowd or in front of the football team, it's like your presence is there to serve others and your optics are so different. Yes, you're also representing yourself at competitions, but it's a different kind of delivery. You are not there only for yourself. You're there to provide almost like a service to others as a leader, as, getting the crowd hyped for the football team and just being on 100% of the time in such a different way than competition, which is really for you as the athlete.
Yeah. I think also, Kate, we've become so competitive with cheerleading and the fact that we are still going and we're still supporting other teams. I think part of it is they just want to get in the gym and practice. And not that they don't like football games or cheering for their school. They do like that part, but we are so competitive and the skills that they are doing are so elite that it's like, okay, we want to focus on that competition piece. And just to piggyback off of all of that, with that competition piece comes that 2 minutes and 30 seconds that they have to perform and show everything they've done all season. So that pressure is they just want to be prepared. Sometimes when they have to go and show up for other people, it's like, all right, let's switch gears, kind of like rah-rah, kind of thing. And then go back into that gym and focus on us, kind of thing.
It's interesting. I had heard you say, Lisa, that they have to be hyping on all the time at the football game, for example, which obviously makes sense, getting the crowd involved. And then when I work with cheerleaders, and I am very honest, I'm always like, I'm not a cheerleader. I work with swim teams. I wasn't a swimmer. These were my sports, whatever. I am always like, all right, we have to learn how to control our nervous system. And it's very different. And of course, in all sports, there's certain times where you have to hype up and then chill out. That's a process. I've never thought of it. I mean, obviously I know there's the difference with the competition, but it's got to be exhausting in some ways to constantly be hyping. You're also thinking like, and no offense to my footballers, my son played football, but you're also thinking like, I want to get in the gym and do my work for competition. So anything else, Brianna, that you wanted to add to that?
Oh, they were thinking at one point that those 2 minutes and 30 seconds kind of defined them and that they needed to be perfect and spot on. And they put that into their heads. If I'm not perfect, then we're terrible and we suck kind of thing. And gearing away from that and feeling like we've done everything that we need to do, right? Before we take that mat, we talk about you are prepared. You know exactly what to do. Your bodies know exactly what to do. Don't let the bright lights, don't let the crowd distract you. Don't mess up your body because your body is going to do what it knows how to do. Now they're kind of learning that as they take that mat. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to trust that. And they've let go of that. I think that we're getting there in that sense. We've done that mental work to actually be able to perform and be comfortable performing, you know?
Right.
Can I tell a story about nationals?
Sure.
So we competed very late the Saturday night, and both of our routines ended very, very late. We got back on the bus and we listened to our results in the hotel room all together. Before that, we didn't have the most perfect routine for our traditional semifinals routine. And the girls were really, really beating themselves up to the point where they were inconsolably crying. And we were trying to be the calm in the storm that they were creating for themselves. And, you know, obviously Brianna and I always talk and we're like, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think? Yes, I think. No, I don't think. Are we going to get through to finals? Are we not going to get through to finals? And then like 5 minutes later, I'll be like, no, I think we are. And then it will be like out of nowhere. So we get back to the hotel room and we're waiting. And it's taking a very, very long time for them to get the results out. I just remember that moment when we're in the room together on the bed, and Brianna and I both had our phones and we were very calm. And all we said was via text message is, I hope they are rewarded for what they earned. I hope that they can learn from this, that the recovery, because it was an amazing recovery within the rest of the routine, that they could be rewarded for getting back up and picking themselves up and blowing it out of the water, because that's going to provide them that validation that they don't have to have that thought at that 2 minutes and 30 seconds to find. And then that just kind of made the moment where we found out we made both finals, game day and traditional, that much sweeter. And we showed them the text message that we didn't know it was in the universe's hands, but it was something that Brianna and I were hoping so hard for in our hearts for them.
That life lesson was so great in that moment. You were like, yes,
it was.
Thank you.
So, you know, I already said, and my listeners know, I wasn't a cheerleader. I don't know. My sister-in-law is an epic cheerleader. My nieces are cheerleaders, and working with cheer teams now, I've learned more. I pay for the virtual thing so that I can watch all the competitions for your team, local teams. I was screen recording some things and sending to her. I'm like, Lauren, like, what's happening here? Do they get points for this or that? And she, like, not knowing, being very unbiased, was like, oh, well, that recovery. And I was like, okay, all right.
And the athlete that happened to, that the one that had fallen in that one performance, she is the hardest worker mentally, physically.
I see it on Instagram.
You know, the all around worker, that girl. I'm not sure if she would have recovered like that prior to our work that we did last year.
Oh,
like good. She even said, she was like, I use those she uses all the techniques. She's got her notebook in her hands, like walking around with it. So
she does message me after and say, I use this, that, and the other thing. And she'll be like, it really helped me. I love that for them. That's really what it's all about, when you can put it into action. You had mentioned it, Brianna. It's putting in the reps and doing it just like you have the physical practice. You got to do the mental work. Sometimes people want this instant, all right, we visualized once. I'm like, yes, that was fun, but we have to keep doing it because your brain is going to default back to, oh, remember when I screwed up? And I know what that feels like. I was really proud of them and quite honestly impressed. And that goes back to you too as well, and your whole coaching staff. And honestly, your school environment, their parents, everyone in general who is supporting them, because an athlete doesn't just do that. They have a whole village of people, in my opinion. It takes a village to actually have somebody buy in and do this type of stuff, especially if they've never done it before. Credit to everybody who's behind all of those athletes. Of course, they're doing the work. Believe me when I tell you that that isn't what happens with everyone. Shout out to all of them. Literally all of them. Every single one of them would be sending me messages. And I was almost like, my husband gets sick of hearing. He's like, okay, great. You're so proud of them. Like, he's like, enough. Like, I don't even know these girls. I'm like, but every single one of them, you know, he's like, okay.
It says something. I mean, they're a unique group and they're truly locked in. They're here for the long run, you know?
It's impressive. Well, I could talk about them forever, but we're not going to do that. I want about your new adventure. And I know you're out there on Instagram already. People are taking surveys and learning all about it. Tell everybody who's listening, what are you two doing?
We are opening a cheer gym in Lower Westchester County, the first one in Lower Westchester, actually. It's going to be a training facility where they can learn the fundamentals of cheerleading. We put the survey out because we want to cater to the community. We want to see what the need is. We are looking to get some expert tumbling coaches in there. I come from a gymnastics background, so...
Okay, I was curious. Yeah, how did this come about? So tell me... I mean, we are always texting, the three of us. We'll be like watching the Olympics and like, oh my gosh, this is amazing or that, you know, so tell me, how did this come about? I loved when I got the text message. You're like, we have something exciting to share. Where did this come from? I know you've probably been thinking about it for a while, but tell me, was there a need, a problem? It sounds like you said the first one in your community.
Yeah, so there's such a need. I mean, I think it's partially because the rent in Westchester is astronomical, right, Lee? It's like, we talked about this years ago, and Lee she was working with a realtor, and she was like, I don't know, like the rent is just insane to find exactly what we needed.
Yeah, Mark and I were sitting here, right here on a virtual session with that realtor, and the rents she was spitting out, this was probably like a year and a half ago now, maybe 2 years. We were like, we want to do this, but it's just, it was so not unattainable, but unattainable. And taking that much of a leap or a risk was just so impossible with that kind of overhead. And then she was like, well, you can buy a building. And I was like, okay, tell me how much. $4 million. And I said,
just $4 million.
Okay, have a good night. You know, so it definitely added layers of challenge to that, to getting off the ground in any way. So we've been talking about this for a really long time.
As coaches, you've been talking about, we would love to start this.
Yeah. Our choreographer, Jeff, and our good friend, Taylor, we have a group chat with them. When we got approached to actually put this into action by someone, we had to look back into our text because we had a name, scrolling. And we were like, oh, there it is. And I was like, 914. I'm like, do you still love it? And we were like, we still love it. So,
and tell me what is 914? Is there a meaning behind it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just our area code. It's our area code. We wanted a play on our area code. I think something to be proud of for the people in Lower Westchester. We are 914. We are trained at 914. And you know, it's something that they can take with them. Okay, I'm from the 914. I go to 914.
I love it.
You know, it was something that stuck with us as soon as it entered the text universe. Like Brianna said, it was like, oh my God. And we tried other names and we kept coming back to 914.
I thought that. I wanted to make sure I was right because here locally, it's funny. Certain area codes go with Philly, like 215. Everyone knows that around here. And in suburbs, people know 610, you know, and it'll just go with certain things. I was wondering if that was the area code thing. So that's really cool. I love it. It's catchy. I like it. Who else is going to benefit from this? What is I know it's evolving, but.
We're going to have mommy and me classes, cartwheel classes, back walkover classes, back handspring classes. So all those different skill sets, right? And then, like I was saying, I come from a gymnastics background, so we're doing our darndest to get a really good gymnastics tumbling coach in there. And I have like gymnastics connections because I was a competitive gymnast growing up. So I actually talked to my old gymnastics coach from way back when. He put me in touch with someone who put me in touch with someone who put me in touch with someone. And I'm like, okay, I think we might have found someone that we really, really like and has that gymnastics background like we're looking for.
Brianna and I love cheerleading. If this didn't come across in this podcast, we would eat, breathe, sleep, drink, become cheerleading 24/7, 25/8 maybe. And this was just a way that we could see ourselves immersing into this colorful world that we love so much and bringing cheerleading to the community at large instead of just keeping it to one team, doing what we love.
That's selfish. I think I probably told you that before. How selfish of you not to share those skills with everyone, right? You got to get it out there.
Yeah, we're
so exciting. When does it officially open, or can people already train there or not yet? What's the official open?
We have to do a little bit of renovations. We're hoping for an early fall start. School will be back in session, so we'll be running after school programs, mommy and me programs. We'll have forward roll classes all the way up to, fulls and things like that. And stunting and basics of cheerleading and all that good stuff.
Yeah. The perfect time, if you ask me. That's when everyone gets back to their schedule and they're ready for everybody to have something going on. It's lining up perfect. I'm excited for both of you. I really am.
Thank you so much.
We'll have to come back and we'll do maybe a podcast when you're in there.
That would be great.
Yeah, we'll have to showcase it. I'm excited for the community in general to get to have a little piece of you and see where it grows.
It really is a great community and we love everyone there. So we're hoping that it's a big hit.
Yeah, well, it's already clear on your Instagram for the business page. I can see all these people already like, yes, we need this. They're commenting on there. So for anyone who's listening right now, I will drop in our show notes. You can go down to the show notes, click right on their Instagram page. You should give them a follow. Even if you're not in their area, my cheerleading coaches, athletes, coaches in general, you should be following that because you need to learn from them. I think you could learn a lot even just from following your page, but most definitely people in your area need to follow that Instagram page. So that will be right in the show notes. People can click on it, make sure they follow you, and all of the stuff is in their bio. So you can click there and I'll link all of that for you too. I could talk to you two forever. We are always back and forth chatting, but I won't keep you forever. What'd you say? Oh, thank you. We're going to jump to our last question. If you were the main character in a movie called The Champion Within, and we're at a cliffhanger moment, everybody's watching the movie and the screen goes to black, what do you think the audience would be screaming, hoping that you do next? Maybe they're hashtagging it on their Instagram pages. Elisa, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
It's a trick question, Elisa. It's a trick question.
Brianna and I went back and forth with this, and we were like, do you think it's a trick question? I think it's a trick question.
I'm like, I'm taking a completely different perspective of this. And she's like, I'm like, wait a minute. I wasn't thinking of it like that. Anyway,
however, people answer this in so many different ways. I'm always curious how you answer.
That's the beauty of it. So for me, I'm going to set a little bit of the scene. So the screen would fade to black while we were on the nationals mat and we are in the little horseshoe and every other team has been called except the second place and first place team. It would fade to black, probably on me, while the announcer was saying, and in second place. And this is when all the people who are watching the movie are throwing things at the screen, blood pressure raised, going, say their name. And then on the other hand, they're saying, all right, she's got to open the gym too.
Oh, yeah. What is she going to do?
She's going to open the gym. Are they going to win nationals? Are they going to open the gym? And I say this because I think that I've lived this movie before. I've never, ever gotten to this point. But I've lived this movie before with every person that I love in my life who knows how much I've wanted to open a gym. I've pretty much always been a cheerleading coach in my adult life, but opening the gym has been this like abstract back burner passion idea.
Okay.
And I think through the movie, people would see me going back and forth being like, no, it's too much. I have too much going on. It's too expensive. It's too this, it's too that. Am I going to do it? Okay. I'm sitting down with the realtor. Okay. No, I'm not doing it. And then when they're going to be sick of me by the time they're at the end of the movie.
Right.
And they're going to see me going back and forth because in the beginning, in every other aspect of life, I'm really good at following through. I'm goody two shoes. I follow through on pretty much everything, but they're going to be like, why can't you follow through on this? And then they'll see the life go through from the movie and then they'll be sick of me and turn off the television and said, I'm not watching the sequel now. Because
you're not going to tell us what happens? I'm like waiting here.
Exactly. So it's going to fade to black, and they're going to be thinking for the sequel, did they win nationals? And
okay, so it's a sequel situation here. Dare I say, and both. I love a good and both theory, that you could manage both, that you have enough space.
And have a choice.
Yeah, and both, that you could be that epic cheer coach, and that you could do this, and both, that you can have that.
We give each other this pep talk all the time. We're like, we are people that are going to commit 100%.
Mm-hmm.
We will not go full steam ahead.
Oh, well, I knew that from day one talking to you, woman. You're like, oh, this will happen. I was like, oh, I don't doubt you. I think you might have referred to yourself as cheer mafia at one point. You're like, I will figure this out. I was like, all right, I'm a little scared and I love you. So
And I checked in with you all the time, and I'm like, not yet, but
right. You're like,
we're getting close.
We're figuring everything out. And, I always think things happen the way they're supposed to. So exactly the way they're supposed to, and both. The timing is right.
You've put that into both of our heads.
There you go.
Putting it out into the universe, keeping that calm energy. So what
I say? Be greedy, right? Take it all. Take it all. Brianna, how about you? What are you going to do? What's this movie ending?
Now you're making me want to change my answer.
No, you don't have to change your answer.
Well, when I originally read the prompt or the question or whatever it was, I was like, all right, so it's going to be the obvious answer. They want to see another flawless routine. And then I'm going to relish in that moment, right? That's the moment that why we do what we do, right? Those moments after that flawless routine, and the moment where I get to celebrate and I'm just seeing Elisa next to me and I hug her and embrace her. And then I look and I see my family and my LT and my husband and my Serafina and my in-laws and my parents. And then I get to hug my cheerleaders and their parents. And I'm like, that is why we do what we do. And that's like our high. That's our drug. That's what makes us who we are. That's my moment right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't change that at all. That's a great answer. Sometimes I'm like, do I tell people this? And people really, I've had guests on, they're like, wait, you really don't have questions? I'm like, no, I'm just going to talk. This question I always give because I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, what? I don't want them to be afraid at the end of the podcast. But then people start being like, oh my God, maybe my answer was wrong. I'm like, your answer is not wrong. That's perfect. Both of those answers, I think, were perfect. And they both really sum up exactly why your gym's going to be successful. Both of them. You need that why, just like we were going back talking in the beginning, how you build that elite culture. The same thing is going to happen in 9-1 Force because your brain doesn't turn off when you step out of that coach role or the mom role or hugging the family role or you are those women. So I'm excited for you and I can't wait to see it unfold. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
We won't make it anything else. We're going to
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I could keep you forever, but we're not going to do that. I want to make sure I do remind everyone to go down to the show notes, click on the links. I'll let you connect not only with them, but also their cheerleading team so you can see them be successful along the way. They put up a lot of really cool things. If you are a cheer coach or just a coach in general, maybe you're a parent and you want to see how it should be done, this is where you should be following as well for their team. Plus, I really kind of am obsessed with when you put your athletes in the stories, all the things they're working so hard. It's impressive to see that. So my athletes who listen, go watch these athletes because you need to put the work in beyond the work that your coaches, whether it's the physical work, the mental work, you got to do it on your own time. And your team really does do that to the next level. It's impressive. Mm-hmm. All right, ladies, well, have an amazing rest of your night. And to everybody who's listening, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your week and make sure you come back for the next episode.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.